hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is... Okay, I'm fine. My name's Michelle. How are you? Hello, what's up? Who's here with me?
It's JD. I'm hopefully not going to have the same sort of conniption you just had.
I don't know what that was. It's like I forgot how to breathe. This movie took my breath away.
Well, I hope it's not contagious, is all I'm saying. I'm doing good.
Be.
I'm definitely doing better this week than I was last week, but
Yep.
yeah. We continue to we persist in the nightmare. So, here we are. Nevertheless, we persisted because we're too pig-headed to do anything else.
Yes.
Hi.
When on Friday, I went to the Friday the 13th event that you could not make. Listeners, if you haven't seen it, was Jason Voorhees' birthday, so I brought birthday cake to the theater, and we ate
wonderful.
it and wore birthday hats while watching Friday the 13th, and it was a pretty good movie. I understand why people like it so much. Although, oh my god, she has the dumbest final girl I've ever seen in a movie. We were laughing the whole time. I've seen it before, JD.
Okay, I was gonna say, what? Yeah.
No, I've seen it. But yeah, worst final girl ever. I did not remember how she has zero survival skills. So that was annoying. We laughed, like the whole theater was laughing throughout the very end of the movie because it's just no survival skills. But on Friday the 13th, people were coming up and talking to me about the podcast, and they're like, what is it? I was like, well, we watch Shudder, but sometimes we talk about other movies, but for the most part, we talk about how we're having breakdowns, and it's kind of therapeutic for both of us, and then we sometimes watch movies and actually talk about them.
It's horror as therapy, and also podcast as therapy, and life as therapy. Hey!
And actual therapy as therapy.
If they ever fucking call me on the fucking waiting list. Did I tell you what happened?
Oh, no.
I had a total...
What's your latest therapist saga?
Oh, no, I had a total self-sabotage moment where I was on a waiting list for several weeks to go in for a new patient appointment, and then I didn't go.
Okay.
And so now I'm on a waiting list again for a new patient appointment because I like to self-sabotage.
I was going to say, I'm like, why did you not go? But then I remembered who you are, and it made sense.
Yeah, because sometimes I just look at a situation and I just say, nope, not today, Satan. And it turns out it wasn't Satan at all. I was Satan, and I didn't go. But
I'm my own worst Satan.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me. I am my own worst enemy.
Yep. Well, you know who has enemies? The girl in this movie.
What is the movie, Michelle? It's
it depends on where we're looking.
Exactly.
It has 2 IMDb pages.
We just had a wild experience.
Yeah, one of them is Best Wishes to All. The other one is Best Regards to All. And Best Regards to All is the one that I've had favorited on my want to watch list for a while. And Best Wishes to All is the one that JD found. So anyway, we had a very long discussion. You don't need to be bored by all of it.
Just important to note that they are the exact same movie, the exact same cast list, all the same details. Only difference is one is Best Wishes, one is Best Regards. Also, however, Best Wishes to All says 2022. Best Regards to All says 2023. And then on Shudder, it says the movie is from 2024. What the fuck is going on with this movie?
This is the worst thing to happen to me in a long time. I'm having a really bad day now. Oh, if only. If only. It's a movie called either Best Wishes to All or Best Regards to All. It is in Japanese, so of course that is a translation thing.
As I mentioned on my Facebook, the movie might as well have been called Good Fucking Luck.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
We will. Should we kick her off with the synopsis from one of these movies? Oh, the descriptions are the same. Okay.
I love how we don't even... Are they? Are you talking about on both IMDb pages?
No, they are slightly different.
Oh, okay.
But well, yes,
you
pick
pick
first
one
glance,
and read it. Yeah,
I'm gonna read this one because
let me do it because I
shorter.
want you to give spoiler-free thoughts first. Can I do it? Or do you want me to give spoiler-free thoughts first? If you really want me to, I will.
No. Now you get to read the description.
It was It's not that I so much want to read the description.
JD, read the description, the descripty script, if you would be so kind.
See, the problem with being the kind of person who has the sort of trauma response where you desperately overanalyze every minuscule detail of everybody's behavior is that often your analyses are wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Read the descripty script.
I'm going to read Best Wishes to All.
Oh, that's the wrong one, but okay.
2022. A young woman visits her grandparents on a break from university. While she's there, she discovers a dark secret about them and potentially herself. Best Wishes to All. Written and directed by Yuta Shimatsu. 2022, maybe 23, maybe 24, hour 29 minutes. Michelle.
Yeah.
Spoiler-free thoughts, please.
This movie's super Japanese. It made me go, what the fuck? A lot. So that's good. Oddly funny. Surprised that it was not listed as a comedy anywhere. Out of both the IMDb pages, 0 of them say comedy. This is one that does a really good job of legitimately being unnerving and creepy and a little bit scary in the beginning. And then just goes off the rails for the second half, and you're just like, what the fuck? I like that it never spells anything out. It expects the viewer to be intelligent and doesn't just say like, here's this thing laid out very clearly, and part of not knowing all these details is what gives it an intriguing appeal. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Number wise, I'm just having a hard time with numbers lately. Let's go with a 4.08.
You and your random numbers. Can you tell us where is there somebody at like a 4.07 and a 4.09? Is it wedged right in between anybody?
Currently what's between is 4.25, which would be Free Waka and Frankie Frico. And the last 4 I gave was The Rule of Jenny Penn. And yeah, I think this is a little better than The Rule of Jenny Penn, not at the level of Frankie Frico and Free Waka. So,
right on.
There's logic. Okay, JD, I have been waiting 24 hours to hear what you have to say, because you have a lot of thoughts about this, as I could tell based on the fact that you kept messaging me about it, even though we have a show where we are supposed to share our thoughts.
Like 2 messages, and it was just... I sent one message, and I sent it twice, and that message was, this movie is real fucking weird. That's all I said.
Yeah. But we have a podcast.
God forbid. I did also
God forbid.
Anyway... No, I really like this movie, and I've gotten to a point, especially since you recently pointed out that I've been particularly generous with my scores lately, and also everybody knows that I don't really give a shit about the scores. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I think it's got, like you said, it's got great creepy stuff. It's got some really fucking wild blood, not what I would call gore by any means. It's not real brutal, but it's very bloody. I think is important to note, and has a lot of symbolism and messaging going on. But you're right, it doesn't spoon feed anything to you, but also isn't. It's weirdly like not subtle either, right? Like it's pretty obvious what this movie is getting at on certain levels, at least. And I had a really good time with it. You made me all self-conscious about giving things 5s because you were like, Jesus, you've given all these 5s now. So I don't know if I can even give it a 5.
Well, does your heart tell you that it's a 5?
Well, give me a minute. I was about to say, you know what? Fuck it. I fucking love this movie. It's a 5.
Okay, good. Good. I think it's fine.
My reaction to movies, my scores, if this is your first time tuning in, is strictly, look, these numbers are dumb and it's a gimmick, and we like to do it because it's a fun gimmick. But all it is like, I fucking loved this movie. I had a great experience with it. I will probably go out of my way to see it again.
I kind of expected you to give it a 5. So when you started questioning whether you should, I was like, well, that's wrong. No, you liked this movie. You told me that you're potentially going to watch it a second time before we recorded, and that's what you do for 5s.
But you made me very self-conscious about giving away too many 5s, Michelle.
I am very self-conscious about my very high scores lately, and they're not even 5s. I think we're just making the mistake of watching too many good movies in a row.
We may just be seeing a ton of great movies. We need to throw some more trash in there. That's you know what?
Shitty movies.
That's a solid analysis. Would somebody please give me a movie that I have no interest in at all? Please?
Yes, send me your least favorite movies. I love watching them. Mine is Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas. It has a 2 on IMDb last time I checked. It might have dropped below that now. And it's Kirk Cameron figuring out the meaning of Christmas. But in the meantime, he kind of undoes all of his points within the same movie in a way that I'm like, well, no, you just said this thing is true, but then you just disproved it. There's a hip-hop number at the end that they all dance around to. Highly do not recommend Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas, but also great to watch Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for it on that. I'm definitely
we can watch that next week.
No, I am absolutely never, ever going to watch Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas.
Oh, you're missing out.
No, I'm not. Anyway.
Well.
4.08 for Michelle, 5 for me. That's 4.54 average. I have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. I know you have some stuff to talk about as well. Let's do it. If you don't want any spoilers, go watch the movie now. Pause the episode, come back when you're done. Michelle, this should be fun. This is where you get to summarize what happens in this movie. Are you even sure you're going to be able to do that?
No. Okay. But we'll try.
This movie was...
I will give it an effort.
Truthfully, I did say... I sent Michelle a couple of messages, and the first one was... I believe it said, this movie is very weird and also very Japanese. And her reply was, very Japanese was one of my notes, too.
Yeah. If you like Japanese horror, this movie.
I didn't say it was weird. I said it was fucking strange. Excuse me.
And you're not wrong.
Yeah.
That is a synonym for weird.
Oh, shut up. Go ahead. Summarize the movie for these good folks.
Okay, first off, a small point, Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas is down to a 1.3 star rating on IMDb out of 17,000 reviews. And it is streaming for free on Tubi. So I had to look it up and see what it was at. That movie, highly recommended.
You could prop my eyes open like that dude in A Clockwork Orange and force me to watch it, and I would just, through the sheer willpower alone, force my memory to shut down and remove the experience.
We're going to test that theory and see if we can. Afterwards, I'll be like, how much do you remember about Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas?
Nothing.
Okay. Oh, bummer. Well, the movie that I did not watch with an anger in my heart was Best Wishes to All. I watched it on Shudder. In case you haven't figured it out, based on the title of this show, we watch Shudder. Why am I starting this way? Because I don't know how to begin. Okay, so there's this girl, and she's actually a girl. She's a child, you know, the word for girl. And she's with her parents, and she's at her grandparents' house, and they're having a good time. But things are weird, and then, the girl wakes up and time has passed, and now she's kind of an adult, and she's gonna go visit her grandparents. And she is getting done with nursing school, and they're all proud of her. But then we start to see why sometimes it's okay to put your relatives in nursing homes, because they're acting real fucking weird. If your grandma is just standing in an empty home.
Need a minute with that.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm good.
I was too funny. Oh no.
Oh my god. That just caught me off guard. Oh, my mom would love that joke. Oh.
Oh good. I'll come over and just say it to her. Never mind. I was going to say, no, I am going to say it. I had a really good joke earlier that I was very proud of. My nephew was wearing an Eagles shirt, and I was like, oh, you like the Eagles? And we were talking about it and how they're all old now. And I was like, they're probably so old that they're called the bald Eagles now. And people did not laugh as hard as that deserved. I was so proud. Anyway, best wishes to all. No bald eagles here because I don't think they exist in Japan. So this girl, she's visiting her grandparents, and they're being weird. They like to stand in hallways with their mouths open and then tell her all about how pigs love to be becoming their dinner, and the grandma loves to suck on fingers. So, just normal old people shit. And then the girl, she's like, some stuff is weird here, huh? And her grandparents are like, well, we're just very happy. And then this man, in only his underwear, with his mouth and eyes sewn shut, comes crawling across the room, and she's freaking out. And then the grandparents look around, and they're like, oh no, not again. So they take him back to his room that he stays in. They're like, this is where we keep this man. And she's like, what the fuck? And she runs away, which, perfectly fair. Eventually she comes back with one of her friends from her childhood to save this man, and so they save him, and he's just walking down the road being excited, loving looking at things, observing nature. She's walking slowly behind them, and then her grandparents are walking slowly behind her in what is just my favorite sequence of the film. The way that was shot was really interesting, where they just kept showing one layer further back. And then what gets really cool is that the guy gets hit by a vehicle and fucking flies in a way that I have never seen on Reddit. I've watched a lot of videos of people flying. They don't do that.
Michelle, if you think the laughing fit I just had was a little excessive, I lost my goddamn mind when he got hit by that truck. I woke up my mom in the other room. I woke up the dog. I was howling.
It's that ragdoll effect from video games when they're not working properly is what happened to him, of like the physics are off in this just a little bit. So this guy, he's now dead. Bummer. And everybody is just acting like this is a very normal thing, where they're like, yeah, we just have to get another one. And the girl's like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, her little brother being even more annoying than usual by bleeding from his eyes. Ugh, siblings. I'm the oldest of 5. And let me tell you, growing up, every time I was trying to babysit, one of them would start like bleeding from their eyes and screaming, I can see red, red, red. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for our mom to get home. Ridiculous. Little brothers. Am I right? So they apparently have several symptoms of stages that they will go through before they die. And there's weird stuff where she goes to like find her father's sister, aka her aunt, and she's telling her how it's all a simulation. They're gonna wake up someday, which 100%. Yeah, we all know that. Duh. But then she's like, she essentially needs to find somebody to replace this naked man that she just saved. She tries sewing her own eyelid shut and then is like, fuck that sucks, I'm not doing that anymore, which, fair. Eventually it all comes back around when her childhood friend, who is just very sad, he's a very sad man, he sacrifices himself so that he can become the person that her grandparents keep in order to keep her family happy. And then we flash forward in the future, and the girl is just happy now, which does mean that she has accepted that her childhood friend is going to live this life of torment. Oh, and they'll be milking him to make some sort of delicious soup that they love. That's just another little bit in there. Her grandmother gives birth, completely forgetting that part. Lots of weird shit. Her grandmother gives birth on a human pyramid. This movie, it's got some stuff going on. But yeah, now the girl, she's happy. She's like, I love that my grandmother can give birth. The end.
That's certainly one way to analyze the plot of the movie. It is. Yeah. It's so fucking crazy and weird, but also like real heavy with like it's so obvious that the movie is about fuck, it's so obvious, and I can't even remember the things I said, but just like the societal ideas of the young being, there's even that moment right away at the beginning of the movie when she's helping the old lady cross the street and carries her bags and everything, and they're going across, and that old lady says something to the effect of, it's terrible how the young are sacrificed for the old. And that's really kind of the giant theme of this entire movie, right? And also just how other people are like this idea that there's a finite amount of happiness, and in order for one person to be happy, someone else necessarily has to suffer. It's a very, very anti-capitalist movie.
It's a very anti-sadness movie. It's like, hey, just steal the happiness from someone else. And God, wouldn't that be great? It would be so much cheaper than a psychiatrist and all of the money that I spend for all of the hundreds of pills that I shove into my face daily in order to maintain a small modicum of sanity. Which is working so well today, as you can tell.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
No, so I thought, obviously those ideas of capitalist exploitation, like the moment where after her parents come to the grandparents' home as well, they're having dinner, and she's talking about this guy's suffering, and her mom is just literally like, wait, you think that's a person? Like, you see them as a person? That's ridiculous. Those kind of things are so right there in front of you. And then also we started talking about or I mentioned that those elements of like just in general, sort of a broadly applicable perspective, those elements of tradition and the idea of we do it because this is just what we've always done. But then also how that applies to Japanese culture, and the way Japanese culture is very centered around like the idea of people, like I forget what they call it, but it's like the three family household where you have parents and they're caring for both their own children and their own parents. It's like a 3-generation household. Just this very traditional sort of this idea that the young are there specifically to serve the purpose of the old. But you found out some stuff that you wanted to mention that I stopped looking into as soon as you asked me to. But about specifically some levels on how that functions in Japanese culture that are significantly like a bigger deal there than they are just about anywhere else.
Yeah, I was so excited to talk about this because I did not get this at all. And either it's a very good fan theory or it's 100% accurate. And either way, I like the breakdown. I found somebody explaining how this movie is all about young people have to sacrifice for the older population. And that in Japan, this is an even bigger problem because their population is declining, which means there are less young people. And every day there are more old people and there are less younger generations to take care of the older generation who cannot take care of themselves anymore. And when you start watching this movie, that ties up so many of the loose ends because, yes, this movie is at its core essentially saying that in order to be a happy person, somebody else has to suffer. That is the way. That is the way it seesaws. That is life. And that part is obvious. But what isn't obvious is, what does her grandmother giving birth have to do with that? And this person explained that it's because the second their problems are solved, the old generation, they get what they want immediately, which is a new child, and the young people don't see that immediate reward, such as her and her brother with Kleenex shoved in his eyes. There were just a lot of very cool discussions about this because this movie was limited release in Japan for a while and did some festivals and stuff. So I like when a movie has been out for a bit and I can already go check out the conversation, especially when it's something from not America where they're like, this is a different thing. And yeah, we have that here. We have a huge problem with nursing homes finding staff, as somebody who used to be tangentially in that industry and caregivers. But
as somebody who used to have to deal with that industry.
Yeah, true. And just hearing that is much more prominent in Japan and has that other deeper meaning is really cool. One thing I was going to talk about is big book nerd Bertha here just a little bit. But one of the biggest horror books out there right now is Tender is the Flesh, which I finished reading about 2 hours before starting this movie. And there are some common themes between these two that are uncanny. Just in finding a way to separate yourself from a different human being, finding a different way to view that person, determining that they are lesser than you and inhuman, and that their suffering doesn't matter because they're not as like human as you are. So if anybody has read Tender as the Flesh, completely different storyline, but just very interesting the way that people who are doing better than others find a way to completely dehumanize the other people.
Yeah, I found all of that like I read the same post that you did, and the things that I was not aware of. Like, I know a little bit about Japanese culture because I know a little bit about everything. I don't know a lot about anything. That's the Michelle. That's the. See, now I feel like you're criticizing me, or you think I was bragging, but you didn't. It's a joke.
I was laughing because the thing that came to my mind was you saying, "I don't think you're dumb because you're a woman. I think you're dumb because you're not me."
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. That is a thing I have said.
Very on brand for JD to be I know a little of everything.
Look, if you want to say I'm a sort of an arrogant prick about academic things, I can't argue with you. What I will argue with you is that it has absolutely nothing to do with gender. Because
exactly,
it has everything to do with not meism. Anyway, I had no idea. Japan actually, I guess, has the highest per capita population 65 or older. Something like a full third of the country, like 35% is 65 or older, which is significantly higher than any other country. And it's because of those 38% above the age of 60 and 26% above the age of 65. Like, and it's significantly higher than the rest of the world. And so we already know how difficult it can be in American capitalist society dealing with those sorts of things for our older family members. But those dramatically high numbers, and that idea of the subsuming the desires and lives of the young, that whole thing with the baby that you were talking about, because I was like, why is she pregnant now? Why is grandma giving birth? What's happening here? But I thought, again, it's a person's one person's interpretation, but I really like it, that idea of how when the young are subsumed for the benefits of the old, then the old are free to actually live their lives, and so it's like we're taking life from the younger generation to give it to the old, because also it's not just that fewer people are having kids, fewer kids are being born. Healthcare over there is incredible. Modern healthcare is expanding life expectancies, and it's apparently this big cultural thing there that a lot of people are just like, they don't see an end to this, and it's like, how are we going to get out of it? And that illuminated quite a bit about this movie.
Everything you said, completely spot on. Exactly like if I had thought to say it myself. I don't know how to properly explain, but that thing about there not being enough caregivers for all the people who are going to need it has been one of those things in the back of my mind for about 6 years now. Pre-COVID, I had gone to some seminars and stuff, and that was always something that they were talking about, was a lack of healthcare workers, and how that was going to become a bigger problem as people were pursuing other careers, and also we're not really replacing our current population because nobody can afford to have kids. And then COVID happened, and now that's always just been a silent panic in the back of my mind, because I'm like, it's much worse now, and it's going to continue getting worse because people aren't going into healthcare as a career, because doctors make a lot of money, but they have to do very long, very agonizing hours. Nurses do not get paid enough, do not get enough credit for all the things they do. And then we're even talking about the clerical work.
Especially, and I say this as somebody who also freely admits I have at times, because of my own mental health issues, been incredibly rude and terrible to medical health staff. Those folks who are there boots on the ground are doing all the hard work, and they get abused. Just fucking because you have a whole bunch of people who are frustrated by the overall system, and they're lashing out at the only thing they see because they've been broken. And it's this whole awful picture, and it's you can definitely understand. I wouldn't become a nurse if I had to deal with people like me on even a semi-regular basis, and I feel terrible about it.
I almost had something really funny to say, and then it never came to me.
What does that even mean?
I knew my brain was concocting something that even I was going to laugh at, and then it just stopped. And I went, okay, well, we're halfway cooking these cookies. We're going to leave them in the oven? Nope, they're burned now. Nobody wants these cookies.
Add that to your list of interesting qualities. Michelle can tell when she's about to be funny.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't see it coming, though, and I say something like that bald eagle bit that did not get enough credit, and then I laugh because I did not know I was going to say that. I heard it at the same time everybody else did. But this one, I sensed it. There was about to be something real funny, and then it's just gone. Like the motor just stopped. It was like the little gears were turning. It was trying to process something, and then nothing came across on the conveyor belt. That is my mind.
And to swing it back around to something else that I found out that I wanted to point out, and I do find it really interesting how this episode or this movie, more than just about any movie we've seen, has brought us to talking about like political and cultural things like this. But like, not only is this happening in Japan, but Japan is, at least compared to the United States, a very modern thinking country. They have universal publicly available healthcare. They have social security style plans. They have a pretty decent social welfare framework, like I said, especially in comparison to what we have here. And this is still this massive problem there. And you can see how that would just be, from a cultural perspective, like absolutely terrifying. Like, what do we do beyond what we've already tried to do? And of course, the answer is always you take billions away from billionaires and actually put it to use for the people who created the wealth. But that's a whole thing.
Oh, I'd rather take billionaires away from the people in poverty, though. Is that a bad plan? Should I not take money from the poor to give to the rich?
Yeah, that,
like reverse Robin Hood?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask, Michelle.
Yeah, as I have learned, it definitely depends on who you ask. As long as they leave the lower middle class people alone, I'm fine. I don't care. That's where I fit in.
Oh, they can't leave.
I'm feeling a little snarky lady.
No, yeah, I can't imagine why.
Also, just even like, I love that a Reddit comment that you and I found spurned us both doing research about Japan.
Yeah.
And the problems they have with the youth to elderly ratio.
Yeah, like I said, like those are kind of universal themes, right? You know, just the idea of the burden of the older generation on the younger generation. Even just a simple thing like, you know, it's very similar to, like, I don't want to take over the family farm. I want to go to the city and play the guitar. Or, you know, that same kind of idea. But when you get those specifics about the Japanese situation, it does illuminate a whole lot more. I do, though, want to talk... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Interrupted when I was trying to...
Sorry. You're right. I did. You're right. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, hang on. Yes. Okay, take a second, reset the gears in my mind, like screech to a halt. No, production is down. People are panicking. There's workers. Okay, never mind. They press the big red button. My brain is going again. Comparing America to Japan and having this problem with us, it's us here in America, the only country that matters. Yeah. Here, we don't have the same type of family dynamic that you do in Japan, where you do have to take care of your elders. There is no other option of them living independently or going to a nursing home or whatever the case may be. At a certain age, they do become your responsibility. And there's kind of this mindset of, like, have kids to make sure that there's somebody to take care of you when you're older. Which is also one of those things that I just panic about a lot because I'm never having kids. I don't want kids. Who's going to take care of me? I have to make $1 billion to make sure that I can afford all of my staff, to take care of all of my many whims, including the weekly firing of a maid, because that's how I will keep my morale up as a billionaire, is I will just be like, bring me the newest one, and they'll just bring in a maid. I'll be like, you're fired, leave my house immediately. And then I watch her cry, and it's how I feel fulfilled as a person again. Anyway, what was I saying?
I'm not even sure. I just got caught up in the wave of it all, and I was like, I'm just going to take this ride however far it goes.
Yeah, America and Japan, they be different.
Yeah, you're right. There is definitely, and that's something that I've experienced because, you know, it's something that I've talked about maybe even on the show. It was always very weird to me and still is, where people are like it's such an honorable and something you should be proud of and a respectable thing that like you've stepped up to bring your mom into your home and live with her and help take care of her. And my genuine reaction to that has always been, wait, are you saying that's not something you would have done too? Like and then you stop to think about it. It's not even necessarily something that they wouldn't do. The question is it even something they can do? Like, our society is developed in such a way that there are a lot of people that I think would be more familial caregivers, but they're simply not able. There's no time. They're committing so much of themselves to their own survival. And so, yeah, it's definitely, that is a significant cultural difference. But again, the crux being, like, what if I don't want that? Right? What if my desires defy tradition? You know, what happens then? And it's an interesting human story for sure.
I'm not allowed to get more pets. Can you imagine how mad my husband would be if I brought home a new cat? Imagine how much angrier he would be if I brought home a new old person. It's very difficult to take care of another living being, especially when you know that they're going to die soon and you're going to get real attached. That's why I'm not allowed to have like hamsters and stuff again, because they don't have a long life, and makes me real sad. It would be like that, where I'd be like, okay, you said no more cats. We did not specify octogenarians. So here is our new old person who will be living with us. And he'd be like, how are we going to afford to feed them? Like, it's a problem, you know?
Yeah.
Old people are expensive.
Well,
you can't
and
just rescue one.
Also, Michelle, and apologies in advance if this touches too hard, but let's also, because it's something you've talked on the show about before, like, imagine if you had this incredible socioeconomic expectation and burden to be the one to care for your mother.
Yep. Nope, I definitely, but on the plus side,
yeah.
Oldest of 5, if that
right.
happens, I have so many younger siblings who will step up.
Right, but you know, that's
yeah.
That's that type of expectation. What if your relationship with that parent or that elderly person is not good? Like that idea that, like, okay, we have to just go back into this now. This is just what's expected of us. That's it's like, this movie is very, like I said, it's not telling you everything, but it's also, like, it's not straight out, like, exposition telling you, but it's telling, like, you will understand the most of what this movie is trying to say. I think just about anybody will.
It did throw me off a little bit in the film when they were talking about, oh, you viewed that thing as a person, or whatever that quote was, because it did make me think, like, oh, are these actually not humans? They're like giant gnomes that they have to catch?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, because we did not know, and I like that it kept saying things, and then, like, other people in the town do know all about this, and they're like, oh, you still don't know? Do you believe in Santa, too?
Because
and
they
like,
all
what
do
do
it.
we not know?
They
yeah.
all do it. It's like she's the only one who didn't know, and even they're like, oh, shit, nobody told her? Oh, man, how are you? That probably was a mistake. Probably should have let her.
Even her childhood friend knows, even though he does not participate in it.
Right,
so it's not just like a family thing or a wealthy thing. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Just some of them choose not to take happiness from others.
Yeah. So let's talk about this movie as a horror movie. It's fucking weird. It's fucking strange. It's very Japanese. It's very bloody. What were some of your favorite horror elements in this?
I just love anytime somebody comes around a corner and there's a person just standing there facing away from them in a dark room. And then I especially love when we get to see what they're actually doing and they're just standing there mouth wide open.
Yes.
I
staring at the
love
ceiling.
That shot. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen, which is not applicable to everybody, but for me, Dark Skies has a moment of that, of just like, what is he doing out there on the lawn at midnight? And like those kinds of scenes where it's just like they're out of it. I don't know why, but that, I think it's because something has completely taken over their body at that point. There's a lot of possession videos that do that. Even Paranormal Activity, where Katie gets up and just stands over Mika and is just watching him and she's just rocking back and forth. There's just something about somebody's entire body being taken over by something else. Even though then when we do figure out what's going on, I'm still not fully sure what any of that means, why they were channeling the pig. Still not fully sure. The parts that scared me the most about this movie were all at the beginning and did not have anything to do with the end. These are two kind of different movies. That doesn't always work though. But this one, like, it starts as legitimate, like, ooh, I don't like this. This is creepy. I don't like these grandparents. I don't like what's going on. Like, that whole, like, whatever they were saying at the dinner table, just weird stuff. And then it transitions into a, like, what the fuck kind of slapstick comedy is this? At the point the man gets hit with a vehicle and bounces way too far, then it's like, okay, with that switch up, this is now a different genre. Enjoy.
I think they started hinting at it just a little earlier in the sequence where Grandma is standing in the hallway and then she just starts running over and over and over into the closed door. Just over and over and over and over until like ad absurdum, and you're like, okay, come on now. But yeah, it's even like after he gets hit, when they put him over and they just like kick him down the ditch, just like as a team, they just like 1-2 just down the line, they keep giving him a push until he finally goes. Like, it's just fucking you mentioned it, Grandma just going to town on Grandpa's finger there at the dinner table. What the
and then making eye contact with her granddaughter while she does it.
Right, and then not ever saying anything about her being there under the table. She knows, and she's just fucking with her. There's that moment.
Freaky.
That moment when she first comes to visit, and they pick up her hands from across the table and start poking her fingers into their own eyes.
Oh, because she's the apple of their eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what the
See, none of that makes sense. So why did that happen?
I definitely wanted to know more about like the miso. That was the thing that, because
Delicious.
like this dude has some kind of surgical thing going on in his abdomen. I don't know if that's just supposed to be for like a colostomy or something. But also, like, they make their own miso, and they make a big deal about the miso, and then there's, like, that little bowl of miso in the room. Is that miso being fermented inside that dude's body somehow? What the fuck is going on with that miso? I kind of want to know. But,
it's gotta be related because,
I'm sure it's a Japanese...
No, but I mean, when he's killed, then they're like, oh, well, there's not going to be any more. It is clearly a connection to that guy.
Right.
Also, I like the idea of miso. No, yuso. Because it's that guy's body, not me. Not me.
Yeah. And then, like, he's got it, like, not just his eyes and his mouth, but also his ears were sewn shut. And I don't remember, but I think his nostrils may have been sewn shut, too. And then, like... at the end, there's just that flashback scene where he comes out and they're just all making weird like music with their hands and mouths, like weird, like almost like beatboxing, and the sewn face dude is just like doing a weird jig. Like, what they fucking, I'm looking at it right here. They all start bleeding significantly. Grandpa just spits blood across the table. Everybody's eyes start to go bloodshot. The little kid's just laying on the floor in front of the TV having a convulsion with fucking bloody Kleenexes stuffed in his face. What the This movie is very Japanese, is what I'm trying to say.
This movie has convinced me I need to go find a stranger whose life isn't as valuable as mine and keep them in my house with all of their senses disabled so that I can really live a good life.
We haven't even talked about how she discovered that she has an aunt, and then she met that aunt, like found her out in the woods, and there's that whole sequence where her aunt is like, none of this is real, man. None of this none of it matters because none of this is real, which I think does represent that idea that a production focused all you are is the labor you provide mentality definitely feeds, like a life of legitimate insignificance feeds that idea of conspiracies, because people want to believe that there's something unique, right? That they are on to something that other people don't know, that they know the secret, that it's something that gives them significance. And then the irony being, of course, here's what I want to know. Was that actually her aunt, and her aunt turned out to be sacrificing somebody for her own survival too? Or was that not even actually her aunt, and her aunt was the desiccated corpse in the back of that film that ended up being drained for this lady?
Oh, I don't know.
I
don't know anything. I have so many more questions. It's like I finished Lost season 1 and I'm so into it.
Right. It's like I get all of your metaphors, friends. Now please explain your mythology to me, because this shit is fascinating and I want to know what the fuck is going on.
I don't think I want to know the truth about the miso. That would make me themselves. Because I did have to pause halfway through this movie to go make ramen noodles because there's a lot of slurping and I got really hungry. And I just made like the cheapest ramen noodles possible, that Marochan packet. So not good ramen. Nobody be jealous of me over here with my noodles. But I had to go make them because it made me real hungry for miso, and I didn't have miso, so I went with ramen noodles. Yeah,
it's just a creepy movie, a gross movie at times, a very Japanese movie, but I think definitely worth a look. It has a lot to see. A lot to say is what I think I meant to say there. But enough that I'm very excited to get a chance to watch this again and see what I might have missed.
A lot. And you're going to have even more questions.
What I want to do is find somebody Japanese, like I'm not like somebody who lives in Japan, who knows the day-to-day culture there, who can tell me more about the significance of minor details in this. Hey,
I think I'm okay just seeing a Reddit comment and basing all of my opinions on everything on that from here on out.
I know it's not unheard of. If you happen to be listening to us in Japan and can help illuminate some of those cultural elements with the aging population and the traditions of family burden or responsibility, shoot us an email, mail@wewatchshudder.com. We'd love to hear more about that so we can have a better perspective on this.
Also, mail me some of your delicious treats. Ooh. I've heard of wasabi potato chips, and I would really like to try them. And I know that the internet exists, and I could just order anything I want to. But part of the fun is seeking that kind of thing out. It's not the same if I go on like Amazon and order it. It needs to be a gift.
It has to be an adventure.
A place. Exactly. I could just get anything I want on the internet, including a man who I could keep in a room in order to siphon energy from. Oh, I bet. You know what? I bet that's what that silly Jeffrey Bezos is up to right now. He's gonna come out with like an Amazon Prime that's strictly for men who are kind of sad, that you can just have in your house and take all your happiness from. That's what that billionaire guy's up to. It's real smart of him. I would not be surprised if he's like introducing our new line of sad men who can live in your house.
He might also
have one of those. He's called a husband.
He might also be producing the Pedo Pals. That's a whole different story.
Oh,
Some of you know that reference. Oh, geez. Black Eyed Susan. Go see it. Anyway, I would be remiss if I didn't mention two specific things here. The two moments that are sort of the horror high points in this. The first of which, and I saw it coming. I fucking saw it coming when she's there talking to her aunt, who may not even be her aunt, and she's chopping the wood, and she winds up for that third swing and just fucking hacks that axe down into that woman's head. Fucking, and like, excellent look. You know, you get a quick shot of, and like, she's reacting, like she's laughing. That was fucking rad. And Michelle, god damn it, this is twice now in like the last month that I've had to watch somebody's eyelids get sewn.
Oh.
And what the fuck is it with people sewing up eyelids? Like, it was bad enough when I was watching them cut those threads off the dude's eyes. And then I don't know why I didn't immediately then say, oh, well, they're definitely going to sew somebody else up before this is done. And then she's trying to do it to herself, though. To herself.
It's actually the third movie I've seen that has eyeball mutilation. And also, I've seen a trailer recently. Apparently, 2025 is the year of eye shit. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm not sure how I feel about it
on.
either.
I think I like it.
All right. Well, I guess I don't really have a whole lot else to say about this movie, except I really hope, and like I said, I was like, once I was done with the movie, I was like, yeah, this movie should just be called Good Fucking Luck.
Yep.
Anyway, it's a pretty movie. It's very well photographed. I agree with you. I really enjoyed that slow chase with the guy, and then the young people, and then the old people, and then the cars coming the other way. It's a really well-made movie.
Yep.
Are
I have
you
no
saying,
more thoughts.
Are you saying we're done, Michelle?
I have nothing more to add.
That's fair.
I like the movie.
The end. Okay, well, I don't mean to make this super sudden just out of the blue, but I have to make an emergency run to the bathroom or things are going to be really weird here in the studio. So cool. That is best wishes to all. Best wishes from us to all of you. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Okay, bye.